I want to go over a couple things with you guys. When I was going through to make the Main Event Wrestling Magazine video, I found a few different publications that were very lesser known that were actually pretty damn good. Especially in 87 time frame, when the magazines like the Apter magazines went to basically a tabloid style magazine with, you know, 10 different things happening on one cover, and there was like no main focus on any just two wrestlers anymore. That's what kind of turned me off with the magazines back then. I just, you know, I like to see either one guy there posing or another guy or a match going on, and that's it. It's too busy when you have, you know, 5 boxes and all these things going on, and it's just like it takes away from what was so great about these magazines in the 60s and the 70s. But before I get there, there's something that's driving me absolutely crazy, and I seen it again today or last night on social media, and it's driving me nuts. So we're just going to blow the myth out. And I've seen it a couple of years ago, and now it's like surfaced its way back again. There's a picture of this magazine of Wrestling News of Dusty Rhodes and Andre the Giant when they won the tag team championship. This picture, and whoever posted the picture, obviously it doesn't own the magazine, or he wouldn't be calling this the United States Tag Team Championship. I'm sorry, the Florida Tag Team Championship. These are the NWA United States Tri-State Tag Team Championships, not the Florida Tag Team Championships. It's driving me crazy. If you're not going to be able to see it, but for anyone who has this magazine, you'll be able to see it. If you just look real close, it says it right there. United States Tag Team Champion, not Florida. And there's people, oh, I was there that night, I remember it well. Oh, I have that magazine. Oh yeah, I remember. And they're saying all this shit, and it's not even true. It's not even the correct belts. It's not even the correct company. It's just, it drives me freaking crazy. So set the record straight. This photo in this magazine is the NWA Tri-State United States Tag Team Championship. They won them in the Silver Dome in 1978. Basically, you could even, you know, get away with calling them the Mid-South Tag Team Championships, but don't call them the Florida Tag Team Championship. They were not the Florida Tag Team Champions yet. Okay. Voila. Here's the Florida Tag Team Championship. Dusty Rhodes and Andre the Giant are the Florida Tag Team Champions. This would take place in 1981. They were the champs for a while, and they vacated the titles. And when they vacated it, NWA Florida did away with the tag team belts. And that would disappear until 1986 when the New Breed took them. The New Breed. Sean Royal and Chris Champion. Talk about two guys who were really pushed for two young guys. The NWA, or at least Florida, was really pushing the hell out of them, and they just disappeared. I wonder what happened to those two guys. They, I was not really a fan of them. They were kind of, you know, different, and the times in wrestling was changing in 86 and 87, so they were probably, you know, a pretty good fit. I just, if any of you guys know what happened to the New Breed, fill me in. I don't know. They just like kind of disappeared. While I was digging these magazines out to show you here, I found a bunch of oddball tag teams that I was like after a while, when you have everything and you've bought everything and you still want to collect stuff and you don't know what to collect anymore, you start coming up with different things. Like I decided to collect every NWA world champion on a cover of a magazine, and that was probably like the hardest thing I ever did, from 1949 all the way up until when Dusty Rhodes' kid won it. So, and I made a video with that, and that was like the hardest thing to do. So I started coming up with all different things, all the tag team champions, all the IWGP champions, while, you know, here and there. And from here, I started going with tag teams who were like lesser known. Never really completed it or finished it, but I'll show you a couple because I kind of just fits in with the video, because this video with the magazines I'm going to show isn't very long. So I figure I would just show it and add it while I made this one. I mean, yeah, these guys were kind of common. It's Jesse Ventura and Adrian Adonis, but they were the AWA World Tag Team Champions. They weren't a tag team for very long. They held the tag team championship. The same team went up to the WWF and were a team there for a short time before they split off. I was a huge fan of Adrian Adonis, man. I hated the gay gimmick that he did. He said, you know, McMahon made him do it, but I don't know. He was doing it in the AWA too. I don't see why Vern would want that, and why would he keep continuing to do it if he didn't want to. But right before he died, I have a Japanese magazine that I was kind of thumbing through. I was trying to find it for this video, but I couldn't come up with it because who the hell knows what issue it's in. He lost a lot of weight, and he went back to the black leather, and he was going to make a comeback, and he got killed in a car accident, which is awful. I mean, I don't know how he would have did on his comeback, but it's a shame. I mean, the guy was going to make another run, and like I said, he looked good. He was still heavy, but he lost a ton of weight, and he was back with the leather jacket and the motorcycle boots and the hat. And if I can find that magazine, I'll show it in another video. But it's a shame that, you know, they weren't a tag team for very long. They did win the tag team titles, and both, you know, made a big mark in professional wrestling for sure. They lost the tag team titles to the High Flyers, Greg Gagne and Jim Brunzell. Hard to find these two guys on the cover of a magazine. They were the champions a couple of times. Also, Jesse and Adrian, you don't see them on the cover either. So these are going to be like different programs and different local magazines for smaller companies that had their champions on the covers, because the major mags didn't really cover it. Here's just another shot of the High Flyers too during another one of their runs. This was, I believe, 78 was this picture, or vice versa. One of the other ones was 78. Gagne and Brunzell. This is the Assassins. The Assassins, you know, they stopped or kind of disappeared right around the time when I started getting cable, and I just missed Mid-Atlantic TV because it was Worldwide Wrestling when we got it in 85. I liked them, especially, you know, the bigger of the two Assassins, Jody. I know he catches a lot of shit from people, and they bash him a lot, but I thought they were a pretty cool looking tag team. My first exposure to these guys was actually on a VHS tape, the Assassins, and I still have the tape. I have a million tapes. My wrestling library on VHS and DVD. You think I have a lot of magazines? You should see my DVDs and VHS. This is my first exposure to these dudes, and anyone who's seen this tape from the Mid-Atlantic knows it's all, you know, the Assassins, and it's all mostly squash matches, but I loved the Mid-Atlantic TV. It was so much different. It was so, compared to the WWF we had, I would take the Mid-Atlantic any day. But anyone who remembers these old VHS tapes from back in the day, there was a few. I mean, there was, you know, they made one for Mike Rotundo. They made one for the Rock and Roll Express. They got one with Flair. I got a couple other ones, but I just, you know, I'm not going to bore you with videos, but they were pretty cool. But that was my first exposure to the Assassins, and this is them with the NWA North American tag team belts. I don't know much about the North American tag belts, but here they are on the cover of a Grapevine program out of Championship Wrestling from Florida. Another tag team that you don't hear much about, Bill Watts and Buck Robley. How come they don't call these guys the Florida Tag Team Champions? Because it's the same belt Andre and Dusty had. But here they are as the United States Tri-State Tag Team Champions in 1980. Here is, I remember being young and watching Steve Travis, also known as Steve Muslin in the Crockett territory, and Quick Draw Rick McGraw. They were starting, I felt, you know, Steve started off as a jobber in the WWF, and I know he, you know, he was a decent mid-card guy, I believe, in the Carolinas, at least when I watched him, he wasn't losing like he was in the WWF. He didn't start winning any matches until he partnered up with McGraw, and then I don't know, they just like disappeared. I know McGraw died, but they split up long before they died. But there was a young, promising tag team that was getting a good push, and the WWF totally accepted them. But they didn't stick around long, man. They were just, a short in and out team. I kind of wonder what happened to them too. Besides, McGraw passing away, if that didn't happen, I wonder how far they would have gotten if they gave him an actual push. Here is a 1975 Tojo Yamamoto and a young Tommy Rich when they were the NWA United States Tag Team Champions. This is a really rare pick, a really rare magazine, hard to find, 1975 Wrestling News. This is one of the first couple Wrestling News when it became a magazine. It used to be a newspaper, and they changed to a magazine style. And this is like one of the first couple that started out. Like I said, a newspaper before this. And those are some of the ugliest tag team belts I think I've ever seen in my life. They're pretty horrible looking. But a rare pick of Tommy for sure. If I get to meet Tommy again, I will certainly have him sign it. And yeah, pretty cool. Unknown tag team. You never really hear about them. Tojo, of course, you don't hear about ever. Just an old, rare pick. Two guys who were extremely popular in the Mid-South area, and of course Junkyard Dog in the Northeast as well, Mr. Olympia and Junkyard Dog, and they were the Mid-South Tag Team Champions from, what will be later the UWF and Bill Watts' territory, which is some of the best wrestling out there. I remember my first exposure to Mid-South was, I don't know, I'm going to say 83 maybe. It was on an off channel up here in the Northeast. It was great. It was, he had that small arena, a bunch of crazy fans, the Blue Ring, and Bill Watts was announcing, and they had Andre the Giant was there, Ernie Ladd was there, the Samoans were there. It was just, a great show. And then that show disappeared. I was like, hey man, what happened to that? It was called, Mid-South. Something or other was the name of the show. It came back later on as, the UWF, and then JR was the, announcing. Everyone knows that. But early Mid-South Wrestling TV, man, I love that. There was some great wrestling on that show. Bill Watts, I thought, did a great job booking matches and as a matchmaker. Here is a super rare picture of gorgeous Gino Hernandez and Tully Blanchard when they were the Southwest Tag Team Champions. What a great team. The original Dynamic Duo, of course, the Dynamic Duo would come back with Gino Hernandez and Chris Adams. Tully Blanchard would leave Southwest Texas, move up to the NWA Crockett territory, and Gino would stay in Texas. I wish he didn't stay in Texas. I wish he was one of the Four Horsemen. I liked Gino, was one of my favorites that I didn't get to see a whole lot of. A friend of mine who I deal with in Japan knows how much I liked Gino, and for my birthday a year ago, he gave me this Autograph magazine page. He actually gave me the whole magazine, and I took it out of the magazine. And he met him on his first tour in Japan, and had him sign this, and he gave it to me. I mean, what an awesome dude to give me that. I'll never forget it, and I love it, and I have it proudly displayed. But anyway, the Gino Hernandez and Tully, never on a cover of any major magazine. So much as all the others we see were just under the radar kind of a tag team, and a team that who knows how far they could have went had they had stayed together, or Gino had not passed away. I guess we'll never know. Here is not really a rare shot, but it is, because the Moondogs aren't on any magazine cover at all together with the World Tag Team Championships from the WWF, or any championship for that matter. This is Moondog King and Rex. King and Rex are the original Moondogs, and King would be, something happened, I think he had to leave the country, or something happened where he couldn't have a visa, and they replaced him with Moondog Spot, and he became the more popular well or known of the Moondogs, but King was the original. They were the World Tag Team Champions. They don't have their belts in this program here. Here's another program, almost the same thing, just a little different time and date. But it's a shame they're not wearing their belts, because it's hard to see them in a picture with the WWF tag team titles. They would lose it to Gurria and Martel, and there's an early shot of Kerry Von Erich here too. That they're not, you know, unheard of. I mean, people know about Gurria and Martel. You just, you know, I thought they were a real good tag team. They were extremely over in the WWF. Martel would go on to do a lot of things, but early on, you know, he was a WWF tag team champion, and this is the only cover that they were ever on as the champs. So there it is. So that's just my wrap up on some oddball tag teams, and I never really got a chance to complete that mission. Tag team champions, I should say. I'm trying to find oddball tag team champions. I'm still working on that, so, you know, maybe down the road if I fill it out with more. But that thing with Andre the Giant really annoyed me, and I just like, it's pissing me off. I got to say something about it. But let's take a look at some 1980s lesser known magazines that were out there, kind of the, you know, the low budget, overexposed, blurry, underexposed, it's too dark. You wonder why it even made it to the magazine to begin with. Very cheap, very low budget pictures, but some of these, as we get in the later years, are really good. Official Wrestling probably had the worst magazine covers. It had the worst photos, but it covered a lot of territories that the other magazines didn't go. This is the first issue. This is the magazine I first learned about Randy Savage and the ICW. I never would have heard about that. This was out for a couple of years, not for very long. Issue number 1 was May 1983. I have them all. Everything we're going to see here, every publication, I have complete. So you know, it's a full direct line to the beginning to the end. So if anyone who wants these can get a good look at what these covers look like. So Hogan pre-WWF and May 1983, issue number 1. July 1983, issue number 2. This has also got Buddy Rogers and Jimmy Snuka when they teamed up in the Philadelphia Spectrum and faced Ray Stevens and Lou Albano. Here is what I was talking about, Macho Man Savage. He's on the, this is his first magazine cover, being seen on a cover, and Inside Story. The next issue goes from July till September 83. And Ric Flair and Rick Steamboat on the cover with a pinup of the Sheik. Make sure you get the pinup with that if you get it. A lot of them are ripped out. Not all the issues had pinups either, but that one did. It will tell you on the cover, like this says, pinup. All the covers, all the magazine will say it on the cover if they have it. November 1983, we're just talking about Gagne and Bronzel, and there they are on the cover of a magazine, a rare pick of them too. Like I said, lesser known magazines will pick up the lesser known companies and champions. Tommy Rich and Bobby Heenan, January 1984. March of 1984, I mean, does it get any worse than a cover than this? Can you even see what's going on? I mean, really? This is your selling point. This is your cover. This is, you know, you never judge a book by a cover, but magazines you judge by the cover, especially if you're a wrestling magazine collector. This is terrible. I mean, oh my God. And, you know, a little bit better, but it's still, you know, like it's out of focus. It's very blurry. May of '84, Roddy Piper on the cover. I don't know who he's with. I mean, it looks like it's Flair. It's probably Valentine. I don't know, because there's no story inside about it. But that's what you get when you go with these magazines. Another, you know, pretty lousy cover. It's cool that they're showing 2 female NWA champions on the cover, though. That's pretty cool. You don't see that very often. The Ring, I have just a couple over here. I'll show you. The Ring used to do it. There's one more with Judy Martin and Leilani Kai. I had them both sign that. But the Ring, early on in the 60s and early part of the 70s, were the best at covering women's wrestling. They had some of the best magazines for women of anyone else, and that's why I love that magazine so much. So if you're into ladies wrestling, the Ring, Early Ring is definitely for you. September '84 Official Wrestling, a little bit better of a cover, I guess. You know, it's got aging Nick Bockwinkel and aging Wahoo McDaniel. Wouldn't think that would be a hot selling cover for, you know, wrestler fans, but there it is. Then it's talking about Lanny Poffo for the first time. November 1984, and this will be the final issue. Hulk Hogan and Bob Backlund. They're talking about the Ultimate Showdown, and they're showing two old pictures of the two guys in '84. That is the end of Official Wrestling. Moving up the line a little bit, this premiered in 1984. It's called Championship Wrestling. I love this magazine. I thought it was great. They gave you a lot of color pinups inside. They gave you a lot of good stories from territories that, you know, from, you know, different places. And it wasn't just strictly the main three. The very first issue of Championship Wrestling, 1984, April is the premiere issue. July 1984, October, and that's it for '84. Championship Wrestling, January 1985, and there wouldn't be another issue until May '85. This has got coverage of Superstar Graham winning the Florida Heavyweight Championship, and there's big photos of Superstar with the belt. That's a rare picture to find with him and the Florida belt. August '85, next issue. Nothing again until November '85. And that would be it for '85. February 1986. May 1986. August '86. November '86. Notice how it says 11 pages of full color pinups, and that's legit. There's a lot of color photos in these magazines. They started doing it from here on out with a lot of color pinups. What you know separated them from the other magazines, because you know you didn't get to see your favorite wrestlers in color unless they were on the cover. 1987 February. I believe this we're getting up close to the last. May '87. August '87. You know how you can tell you're getting desperate and running out of covers to come up with? You'll do a repeat. Here's a repeat from the May '86 issue, and they did the same thing, same exact cover for August of '87. So you kind of know the beginning of the end is near when you have to do stuff like that to get a magazine out. November '87, and the final issue was February 1988. This is covering Ronnie Garvin and Flair at the Bash. Wrestling Action, another very appreciated magazine. I think it was excellent. They had excellent covers. Now, mind you, all the covers so far had two wrestlers on the cover or one guy posing on the cover. It wasn't, you know, a collage of 50 heads on there and you don't know what's going on. Here you can clearly see this is a wrestling magazine, just like all the others. And that's, you know, that's what was missing in a lot of the upper 80s magazines. Everyone kind of jumped in on the magazines to make a quick buck because wrestling got huge in 1986, 87, 88. Yeah, you look at the WrestleMania, you get nearly 100,000 people for Mania 3. What was that, 87? Yeah, so here's 87, and you're getting a whole bunch of companies now just throwing magazines out there because they know they can make a quick buck. Whether, you know, football was their main thing or baseball was their main thing, they were putting out a few wrestling issues, you know, to cash in a little bit while it's hot. And Wrestling Action, I guess it was no different, but they only put out maybe 4 or 5, and I wish it stayed around because it wasn't around for very long. So the first issue, I'm sorry, April 87, first issue. June of 87, September 87, December 87, and that's it for Wrestling Action. It's a nice looking cover, and it's a shame that The other magazines, you know, didn't stick with that layout. There was another magazine called Double Action Wrestling. It was not good. It had nothing to do with wrestling action. This is just wrestling double action, and this was one of the few decent looking covers that they had, and it's got Luger and Flair. Wasn't a fan of this. I don't have any other issues, I don't believe, unless there's some at my Jersey house. I don't think there is. February '87 was not the first issue. This is just the only issue that I had, and I really probably shouldn't even have showed it, honestly. But now, probably my favorite of all the lesser-known wrestling magazines in the '80s was Gold Belt Wrestling, and loved them. I thought they were great. I wish they stuck around. They sold, and when they sold, it went to shit. But the first couple of years were really good, and as you can tell, what a great-looking cover this is. Probably taken at the Bash at some point when Flair was defending it against Ricky Morton, June of 1987. And this is the premiere issue of Gold Belt Wrestling. Issue number 2, Macho Man on the cover. This is August of '87. Issue 3, Adrian Adonis and Roddy Piper. Not the greatest looking cover, but they get a lot better from here on out. November '87, you got Kerry Von Erich and Ric Flair on the cover. It's a great looking cover, I think. Another great bloody cover, Dusty Rhodes, Tully Blanchard, December 1987. Hercules Hernandez, not Hercules, versus Hogan, and don't recall Hercules on too many covers, maybe 2 other ones. It's a shame. I liked him. I liked him in Florida. I thought he was great. February 1988. He would go on to Japan. He would do really good in Japan. He'd win the IWGP tag team titles, and it's a shame he actually passed away. I actually gave him directions one time at a gas station in North Jersey. He was heading to Wildwood, and he needed directions to get on the Parkway South. Let's see, Gold Belt Wrestling, March of 1988. Ronnie Garvin winning the world title from Ric Flair. All the coverage is in here. There, like I said before, I'm not sure if I said it or not, a ton of color photos are in these. A ton, which made it that much better. And like I said, you know, look at the magazine covers. These are like old school throwback covers compared to what we were getting at this time in 1988. This is April barbed wire match with Steve Williams and Dick Murdoch. Okay, they allowed to have one bad cover, right? June of '88. Okay, 2 bad covers. August of '88. He was still he was just coming to the WWF. He was still kind of the Dingo Warrior then. The Dingbat Warrior. Let's see, October '88, and it's got the coverage with Savage as the WWF champion. And you can see all new. All new means, uh-oh, what happened? We have new owners. And the first couple were decent. After that, it went way, way, way downhill. December '88, Sting and Flair. Not a bad looking cover at all. They put out at the time, it was hard to get. I don't know anymore. I never looked. Wrestling Gold Belt poster magazine. All pinups and posters in here. The entire thing is full color. It's very heavy, and they give you a ton of photos and pinups in this. Like I said, I don't know how rare it is anymore. I know at one time it was a little bit difficult to find that. February 1989, beginning of the end for me buying this, but it's still a decent cover with Luger and Flair. And I can feel the difference. It's like nothing. It's so light now. The new owners have really went into full swing with their 3rd issue, and this is April of '89. And this is where I stopped. The style of the cover changed. the photos or someone else has taken the pictures. There's a different publisher, and it totally lost its appeal. It's a shame, because Gold Belt Wrestling Magazine was a good magazine. I don't think it lasted much more anyway. There may have been only another handful of issues, but it didn't last. April of '89 is the last of this style before it, like I said, the cover changed. And there it is. So some lesser known magazines that, you know, I thought it was worth just taking a look at for anybody who's never seen them. I can't believe this is a 30-minute video already. I thought this was going to be really quick. All right, so there it is, man. From top to bottom cover. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything. Yep. Everything's complete, and there it is. Okay, guys, I will see you on the next video.